Alright, I thought I'd show you my tire changing setup. First, I made a stand. Designed it. We do bat houses. I have a CNC machine that does all of our bat houses, so I sat down, took some time to design a tire changing stand and cut it out on the CNC machine. It's based on an idea that I saw from Gobium. He's, I think, Grease and Gadgets is his channel. I'll put a link in the description. If you like to see just innovative, homemade type tools and improvising, he's definitely the channel to go to when it concerns Urals or Urals, however you want to pronounce it. If you want to pronounce it in the Russian way, I believe it's Ural. We call them Urals here in the South. And check out his channel. He has many different Ural motorcycles and Dneprs. He goes through them. He tears them down much further than I hope I ever have to tear one down, and he just seems to dig in and enjoy it. But that's where I got the idea for this tire changing stand, was watching him change a tire in 2 or 3 minutes, I think it was. And I went ahead and ordered, it's not here yet, a Nomar tool. And I designed my stand so that I can put a rod. You can see kind of a hole right there. The rod will go through the tire and into the stand. And I believe that the Nomar tip on a bar will be able to help me remove the tires instead of having to use these spoons to do it. Save my back a little bit. Since I'm going to finish up the 3 on the Patrol, then the Nomar tool should be here. I've got the Tourist to replace all 3 tires on. And my son just picked up a BMW motorcycle that needs new tires, so we'll be replacing it on it. Plus, for the Patrol, I have to mount a spare. I'm going to take the best, the one tire that's not really bald on the Tourist, I'm going to make a spare for the Patrol. So, still got quite a few tires, motorcycle tires left to do here, but just wanted to share the stand with you. It works well, and you definitely don't have to have a CNC machine to make one of these, but it does work out pretty good, and I can give you the dimensions on it. Might be helpful. Now, I specifically dimensioned this for the 19-inch wheels that are on my Urals. The outside diameter is 18.5 inches. Inside is 15 3/4. This just lets the wheel fit nice and snug. Both the steel and the aluminum rims fit, and the inside's a little bit larger than it needed to be, but I wanted to make sure I didn't have any problems with the brake rotor, and I did not. The brake rotor fits right in the hole. And height-wise, I actually went a little higher than I think Gobium's is. I'm not sure, but I went on up. I brought the top up to about 29 inches. That way I can lean over it, but I've still got a nice working height that I can work on. And a 5-gallon bucket does work, but it's not quite as stable as this is, and it's not as tall as this is. And I have back issues anyway, so bending over is not high on my list of things I want to do when I'm wrestling with those spoons on a tire. Now, a couple of features that I added. I did put 2 holes here near the top. Those are lashing points. I can put a rope or a strap through them and lash the tire down if I need to. Haven't had to do that yet. I added some toe kick holes or tie down points on the other component. This lets me put a bolt. I've got one of those max jacks here, and of course I've already got bolts in the floor where these are anchored, so I could pull the max jack out of the way and use one of those anchor bolts to secure this down to the floor. Could do that if I needed to anchor it in place, or I can stick the toe of my shoe in there and push down. Now, I used 1-inch ACX material. It's thicker than the 3/4, nice and stable, and it's got some mass and weight to it, so that did pretty well. And the design is kind of an overlap slot design. There's a slot in the bottom on one of them and a slot in the top on the other one, and then where they overlap I did kind of a dog bone joint. This helps the pieces fit fully together so that they don't bind on the radius of the cutting tool where it's cut, and it's doing pretty good. I mean, I've been pushing and shoving on it, changing these tires, and it's very stable. So, and of course I can put my foot out here if I need to. I've done that a few times, and I can get my foot in here to hold it down. And the only screws in it are the screws in the top. I took this donut on the top. Now when I'm using a CNC machine, so I'm taking advantage of all the tricks I can. I made kind of a dado across the bottom of it, and the upright fits into that to square it up and hold it in place and make it stable. And you know, it's solid. It's a heavy thing made out of the 1-inch material. So if you want to, make one yourself, you can certainly use my dimensions. Now the base on this, I believe, is right at 24 inches, maybe a tad less. Yeah, it's right at 24 inches wide across the bottom. So it'll actually be like 23 3/4 because I'm fitting this into a quarter sheet of material when I cut them out on the CNC machine. So I wanted to make sure 2 of them would fit side by side on a 48-inch piece. So there you go. It does a pretty good job.